152 yards. Duke Johnson ran 5 times for 34 yards. Folks, that's almost 200 yards rushing from your quarterback and your 2 running backs. Plus, Deshaun Watson had 280 yards passing with another touchdown. Yeah, he had a couple interceptions, but that's Deshaun Watson. I've kind of accepted that. You'll get a couple turnovers here and there, but guess what, folks? Interceptions don't matter when you win the game. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. Houston looks like a legit team after beating Kansas City in Kansas City. Or does Kansas City start to look like they're regressing a little bit, trying to find their identity this year because Mahomes is now hurt and he can't run like he did before?
I think it might be a little both.
Because Deshaun looks like he's taking a step up.
The defense in Kansas City is going to have a lot of extra stress put on it, and I think it's just
Big
the
time.
opposite in Houston. I think Deshaun Watson being healthy, finding himself, is going to take pressure off that defense, which it needs to be done because, again, like you said, it's not as strong.
Carlos Hyde having 115 yards is a huge thing. Keeps the defense off the field and lets them catch their breath. That's a biggie.
Can I say this, though? I still think Bill O'Brien needs to go. This is not Bill O'Brien being a genius coach. This is his quarterback being damn near Michael Jordan and carrying it, i.e. Rodgers. Rodgers, the minute that they ended that 2016 NFC Championship game where all that shit was put on Aaron Rodgers and they were still two fumbles away from being 21-21 in that game with a defensive tackle playing offensive line, Mike McCarthy should have been fired. Period. This is the same situation. Learn from history in the other parts of the league and save yourself from terrible things from a young quarterback that's not even in his prime yet and get a good coach. Bill O'Brien ain't it. Sorry, folks. Don't care if
folks,
they won.
He's an O'Brien hater. I don't know what it is. They're 4-2.
He's not a great coach.
I'm not saying he's a great coach. He's a decent to good coach.
If he's decent, you don't waste quarterbacks on decent coaches. That's why Tony Romo, decent coaches. Tony Romo had to retire prematurely. Decent coaches. 1 Super Bowl ring in Green Bay. Decent coaches. Do you want me to keep going, Dave?
No, I just like getting you ranted up on O'Brien. All right. Next game going up. A lot closer than I thought it'd be. Baltimore beat Cincinnati 23-17. The Bengals were around. I mean, but Lamar Jackson, he did more with his legs today. He ran, get this, Jay, 19 times, 152 yards for Lamar Jackson and a touchdown. He still threw for 236 as a quarterback. He had a passer rating 85 still, and he still was able to run the ball. Mark Ingram had 52 yards on 13 rushes, had a touchdown. The Baltimore run game they kind of went back to what they did last year in this game. A lot of power running, and it worked. I mean, and Mark Andrews, shout out to Dylan for calling him out yesterday and saying he was going to have a big game. He ended up having 99 yards on 6 catches, so he was very effective. But man, Baltimore, you know what? That's another place. Either if Mariota had a place to go, it might be Cincinnati if they're rebuilding. Zach Taylor's a QB guy.
Yeah, that's a good. I didn't think of that.
But since he's also going to have a top pick, so why not go with a younger guy too? With problems you don't have to fix.
Go both ways.
I mean, you could have Mariota as a backup if you wanted to.
Because you're going to get Mariota a lot cheaper right now. Let's be real. Dalton's 30-31. Mariota's what, 26? Yeah. Okay, so you're getting a younger quarterback a lot cheaper, who's still a veteran,
and still pick a young guy to teach.
And so either way, you've got a good quarterback. If Mariota develops, you keep him. Or you can trade him because this guy's developed, but it gives you time. To me, that's a great situation.
And Dave. It keeps the trade chip in your back pocket, basically.
It either gives you a good quarterback either way, or you get 2 good quarterbacks and a trade piece. That's an idea. That's using that big old noggin. Size 9,742 inches.
I just, you're making me blush. Next game going on is Seattle-Cleveland. Seattle won 32-28, a lot closer than what we thought it was going to be. Cleveland had the lead 28-25 going into the fourth. Seattle ended up coming back. Russell Wilson, God, 117 passer rating for the game, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson also ran a third touchdown in. Chris Carson, have yourself a day, young man. 24 rushes, 124 yards, a touchdown, 5.2 yards a carry. Whew.
Can I ask this question? And it's not a hot take, it's a serious question.
Yeah.
OBJ, still a Brown next year?
See, I don't know. He had a good day today. He had 6 catches for 101 yards.
Or is it, do I get rid of the other pieces so that it's the Nick Chubb, OG Bay? Because...
You mean OBJ?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Too much of that Aero vodka.
I haven't been drinking it all day. Not a drop.
But yeah,
saving that
Beckham
for tomorrow.
had a good day today. Nick Chubb, shout out to you, young man. 20 rushes, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per carry.
You know what bothers me about watching the Browns? They do the opposite of what you think they should be doing.
Freddie Kitchens might need to go, man.
There's like times when I'm watching that game and I'm going, that defense, hand it off to Chubb, get it 5, and then the next play, your whole playbook is open on 2nd and 5, and that's the time to get it to OBJ. And then if he doesn't get the first down,
Landry,
give it to Chubb or go play action and hit OBJ for the big play, which he's perfectly hit. Like, they completely do. So then first down, they throw a 30-yard bomb that he's double covered on man cover 2 press, and he can't get to it because there's pressure and he makes a bad throw. Then second down, you're like, oh, they're going to run a draw play. What the hell are you doing?
Well, the thing is, the Browns still have early enough time to fix this. They lost. They're 2-4, but you can still make the playoffs in the AFC as a wild card at 10-6, or even win the division.
North.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and win the division possibly. But that means they got to fix it now, and I think
Freddie Kitchens, I feel like, is just overthinking it. It's not that hard.
He's trying to get too cute.
Weapons. Just run an offense. Just like, to me, it's they have the same situation we're talking about with Monty today about the Packers. What I said about the offense. You have all the tools and you've established a run game. Whatever the defense lines up and just take what they give you. If they're going to line up and cover 2 and play off, run the ball right up their damn throat. Don't run a stretch. Don't run a toss.
Seattle's
run it
defense
straight up their ass and get 5 yards. And then whatever happens on second down, just take the yardage, make the next, like, it's not that hard. And again, like you said, they're overthinking it. It's there's no rhythm, there's no rhyme or reason to the plays that are being called, it feels like. It's just, I like this play on my sheet, I'll call this. And then we're flipping 7 pages through the playbook the next play and calling this. And then flipping back to the pick section and calling this on third down. Like, and none of it has any ties to each other or any correlation for any reason.
Well, moving on from that, yes, I think Freddie Kitchens might need to go or he needs to figure out his play calling and run a correct offense. Moving on to one of the games I love because Dylan called me a coward yesterday for almost backing out of this, but he made me do it. I took the Jets by 2, 24-22.
Bold pick.
Man, tell you what, Sam Darnold looks like he never left, man. Came back, the whole team was re-energized. The defense was hitting harder. Offensive line was hitting their blocks, getting off the trenches. It just, everything together when he came back in, the team knew he was there. They didn't think they had a Luke Falk anymore, a Trevor Siemian. The Jets, and I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but they can still have a good season at doing like a basically saving this season as like a 7-9 or 8-8 season, starting off 0-5. They could really salvage this and go on a run and try to take momentum in next year. I don't think they're going to be able to make the playoffs this year. Bills look good. Patriots look good. I don't see a third team coming out of the AFC East.
No, I think you're definitely just getting one team. I think everybody else is going to kind of beat up on each other and finish just outside of the playoff race. But that depends on what happens with the AFC North, because if the AFC North ends up being a 9-7 winner, that can bump up a team that's 9-7 in the AFC East or something like that. You know how I mean. AFC is just rough this year. The NFC actually is a lot more wide open, in my opinion, than the AFC.
Yeah, because Dallas dropping 3 games straight and knocked them completely back in the middle contention rather than being on top, because everyone wanted to crown them. Everyone. Oh, and mind you, folks, this is a stat I saw. Cowboys were 3-0. Chiefs were 4-0. The Rams were 3-0. All are now 0-8 since they were all undefeated.
I told you, don't crown them. It's preseason, man.
Preach, Jay.
Well, and I know it's fun, and I know it's.
We're not hating, folks. This is facts. You crowned them too early.
It's too early. Teams are figuring things out. They're going through bumps and bruises and lineup changes and things they thought were going to work out in the preseason don't. I'm telling you, week 8, things start to shake out, and even then, you're going to have a guy come back from IR that needs to work in. There's all kinds of factors. Power rankings are fun, but to really live and die by them, especially before week 8, is just kind of nonsense and silly to me. Look, I can talk about football, and we can say, Ezekiel is doing this, but there's context to all of it, and I think power rankings take that context out of it and give you a false identity of what's really going on the field week to week, especially
folks.
Early.
The first 3 weeks, it started looking like Dallas might pay Dak his money near like $30 to $35 million.
We're talking $50 million, Dave.
Oh no,
you heard it.
Since
I
then,
heard it.
It was 40,
nothing.
Not 50. 50 was Patrick Mahomes, and that's even gone down since then. But 3 games, they go 0-3. And now he's looking at what I've been reading now across Dallas reporters. It looks like Jerry supposedly wants to offer him $25 to $29 million contract. And I fully agree with that because of the fact he has not been able to win against 2 contender teams in the Saints and the Packers. Mind you, they let Green Bay walk into their house and smack them around. 2, Jets were one of the easiest teams to kind of come in and set those tone, get back to your old ways, run the ball with Zeke, get your defense get nasty again. But no, Jets literally were throwing haymakers and uppercuts and landing everyone.
It was literally the Buster Douglas fight in the football sense.
Yes, it literally is. And that was a very good comparison right there. I cannot sit here and take Dallas as a serious team, and people are still trying to vouch for him on social media. Jay, I went and checked it. Oh, he's still a $30 million quarterback. How? He's 5-9 against winning teams.
Exactly what we said.
He's going to start.
Oh, you're almost overpaying him at $25 million. I think you should cap him out at 21. Give him incentives that give him a chance to make $3 or $4 million. But those incentives are just below elite quarterback stats. You take the top 5 quarterbacks, and you expect him to be in that 10 to 6 range in those statistics. That incentivizes a certain amount of pay that can bump him up to about that $25 million. If not, he's capping out at 2021. Otherwise, he's not. He's going to be this guy consistently. And you might as well move on and see what you can get in the next guy, because you've already got everything. You've got all the juice out of this lemon, so to speak. How do you want to do it? I'm not saying you have to move on, but it depends on what he's willing to take and if you're willing to actually be real about what he is and what he's capable of. Quarterbacks –